We are here for a super exciting episode. We have our first bride on Wedtalks today, and I'm just so excited. I love Kiley. I met her when she toured, and I instantly had such a great connection with her and have enjoyed getting to know you the last, 6 months?
Yeah, what did I tour in, like November?
Yeah.
6,
You guys had a
7 months.
pretty short engagement.
Pretty quick turnaround.
So yeah. Kiley is, I'm not going to make you say it, but she is a very recognized influencer here in St. Louis, the Midwest. And you have such a great following with your health and wellness and clothes, fashion, all that stuff. So of course she had an amazing epic wedding.
Oh,
everybody
so
was
sweet.
looking forward to seeing it. And yeah, we're sad it's over, but
We're sad.
we're glad to talk about it today because
Thank
I
you
haven't
for
really got to.
having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, you just said it all. Like you literally said it all. I guess I'm an influencer. Thank you for saying the word for me because I feel like it has such a strange reputation, but I feel like I'm a little bit more than that. But I started in the fitness realm and I got bored of it a little, not bored of working out, but I got bored of just posting about the same thing over and over. Mm-hmm. And I just started sharing more of my life, and that's my passion. I love to do that. I love to help people find cute outfits and good makeup and good skincare and fun workouts. And
it's just going to grow with you throughout your life.
Yeah.
And your job is just going to change.
Yeah.
With your, everybody was excited to see the wedding.
I know.
And, we'll see what's next for you guys. But it's cool how you get to share your life with everyone and everyone cheers you on so much.
Yeah. I did have a little bit of anxiety after it was over because I'm like, now what am I going to talk about? I talked about the wedding for the last 7 months and I'm like, okay, now who am I without the wedding to talk about? Like,
It's
I guess
also nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Back to normal.
Yeah, back to normal. I'm happy to have like my office back and all of that stuff because the wedding stuff was just absolutely everywhere. I'm like, okay, I need to clear some space out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it takes over your life.
It does.
That's why it's nice you did a short engagement.
Yeah.
Everybody's always wanting to have an 18-month, 2-year engagement. I have people emailing us for 2026 dates. We don't even open them yet. But like
I couldn't.
No.
After the stress of, it's not a bad stress until I think the last couple of months is where it gets really intense just as it gets closer. And I was like, I'm really glad I didn't draw this out.
Yeah.
Because I would have just been thinking about things for too long. I already changed a lot of stuff, like kind of last minute. And I'm like, had I had a longer engagement, I'm like, oh my God.
It just gives you more time.
You also you try to go timeless while also doing some trends. And I feel like if you have a longer engagement, then you're like, oh, well, those are last year's flower colors. I want to change my flowers. I want to change this. I want to change that to be reflective of whatever is trendy at the time. And that's that can just get expensive changing things, you know?
And did you, because you are, well known on the internet, did you feel a little bit of pressure? You did, right?
I felt all of the pressure. I tried really hard not to think about any of that, but it's impossible not to. But the most important thing for me was just having a really beautiful day. I don't know. I kind of never thought I would have a big wedding. I kind of never thought I would do the dance floor, the flowers, the escort display. I honestly never thought that I would do any of that stuff. I thought that we would do a small backyard, whatever. And then we got engaged and I was like, never mind. I want it all. I want it all. And so, yeah.
Well,
but I felt the pressure for sure.
As an outsider, I really do think you prioritize the important things.
Yeah.
And you kept a level head throughout the whole thing.
I tried hard.
You did. And I feel like your main thing was marrying Jeff. And the first look thing, which we'll touch on that. You were super adamant about that. And that was a priority. You knew what you wanted.
Yeah.
And it happened.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the first look thing. I'm like, we can talk about that whenever. Because that was one thing I was like, no,
I'm not doing it.
I can't. But yeah.
Well, let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
So when you first got engaged, as far as a venue goes, what were you envisioning in your head?
Well, so we kind of looked at one out in St. Charles only because it was the only one I knew of. I was like, that's where we want to get married because that's the one I knew about. Totally. And then Lindsay, who owns Cake House, was like, I think, because I kind of showed her my vibe. I must have shown her a venue that looked like Westwind Hills, lots of natural light, sort of a timeless look. I didn't want anything to look like super dated in 5 to 10 years. And so I sort of told her, like, think European summer, but in St. Louis, Missouri. And she sent me this venue and I was like, yep, that's it. She sent me a few others and I was like, no, like, no, go back to the first one you sent me and like unsend the rest. Like, no, I need to tour Westwind Hills. I think she sent it to me on a Sunday and we were like here on a Monday.
Yeah.
I was like, get me in there. Like, I think she told me that there were 2 dates left and I was like, tell her I'll pay sight unseen. Like, I have to get married there. We had to get married in the summer because of Jeff's schedule. And so,
and it lived up to your expectations when you saw it in person.
Oh my God. Like, I like feel bad for anyone else getting married anywhere else because I'm just like,
you're so sweet.
I'm just like, nothing. I just feel like nothing else compares. I've kind of like looked around at other venues, helping friends start to look. I have a friend that's engaged right now and she's like trying to look for venues. And I'm like, good luck finding something more beautiful. Like,
I appreciate it.
Doesn't exist. Yeah.
Well, we were so excited to have them. And I think the whole process, it was very quick, but like I said, you're a very decisive person.
Yeah.
So you knew what you wanted and made it happen in a good timeline.
Yeah.
So when you started thinking about design, once you had the venue, did you change your mind like on initial colors and themes of the wedding?
Yeah. Well, I initially wanted to do, in terms of colors, I knew I wanted to do like metallics. I wanted to incorporate like golds and champagne and stuff like that. And so I think one of the first not decor things, but I picked bridesmaids dresses pretty early on because I knew that the theme was going to be like neutrally, but golds. I knew I wanted golds in somehow.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do all white flowers. But when I spoke to you and I spoke to Lindsay and a lot of other people were like, well, you don't want it to get kind of lost in the sauce and just like washed out in the photos and everything. And so that sort of changed like the rest of the decor because like if you go with, some pinks and some mauves and stuff, you can't just like do whatever you want with the rest of the decor. Because if you do white for florals, you can kind of do whatever you want with the rest. But I knew I had to like be strategic with tying in like the black and white dance floor and the textured linens. I was so worried about it all going together. Like, how often did I text you and was like, are we sure this is all going to go together? I would like put things on Canva. I have Canva Pro and I would like layer stuff over and like try to like put it on a fake table and like just try to visualize what it was going to look like all together. So I went back and forth.
You did
quite
a good job
bit on some stuff.
Well, and you were pretty adamant about those linens because
I had to have them because they matched my dress.
Yes.
Which
now I get it.
Yeah. And like when we were here picking out the linens with Jeff, he had no idea what my dress looked like. He didn't know texture or fit or any of that stuff. And so he was, I don't know, he was kind of like, we don't have to have these overlays. I'm like, yes, we do. You don't understand. It matches my dress. But I didn't want him to know that. So
well, and to a guy.
Yeah.
So overlays, let me just speak on that for a minute.
Yeah.
So linens, like luxury linens, it's a huge range of what you could spend on them.
Yeah.
But when you pick an overlay, you automatically have to pick a linen underneath it.
Yeah.
And you could just do like a basic catering linen under it, but we amped it up a little bit. So, but they were stunning.
Like, why were linens the most important details to me? But literally linens and the dance floor were like the top details for me, but
it takes the most surface area of the entire place. So when people overlook linens and then they have these bomb florals, you miss something.
Yeah.
And
it just looks empty. It kind of like the room kind of just like swallows it whole. You're like, where is everything?
Because wasn't it weird seeing it like full of stuff?
Yeah.
Because you'd only seen it.
Yeah.
Empty. And it's so different once you have like your own personal touch on it.
Oh, for sure.
And I think that's what sucks about touring when it's empty.
Yeah.
Like, we would love to, Mondays set it for a staged wedding, but it's just not possible.
Yeah.
So, but it's cool to see it like that.
Yeah. And I think I had faith that it would turn out because the girl that owns Bloomin' Buckets, that's where I got the inspo for the overlay.
Yes.
And that's why I kind of wanted to do the white underneath too, because it's hard for me to want to do something different because I'm like, I don't know how that's going to look.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just want to do what she did because I know that looked good. But I loved the way that it looked with the dance floor and with those linens because it looked full.
Yes.
It didn't look like when you go to a wedding and it feels empty. no one really wants to dance.
Yeah.
No,
I know.
It feels just like we're in a rec hall, and then that's not fun.
And it's easy to copy, and because you like it, and it's safe. It's easy to play it safe.
Yeah.
But you guys did great, and you were, I think, the first people to put the head table in front of the barn doors too.
Were we?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we had it set for that styled shoot when you guys came for your 6-month meeting.
Okay.
So you could see it like that.
Yeah.
And everybody was kind of scared to do it, but now everybody wants to do it.
Oh, do they?
Of course.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah, we initially wanted to do it against the head table against the windows, but then I kind of thought like that might be kind of hard to shoot into / just different. Like I wouldn't have changed a thing.
Yeah.
I love the way that it
I'll
looked.
definitely throw up some of your pictures through this in case people haven't seen your wedding, so they know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But we basically have this big door that separates our 2 rooms, and they did their head table like in front of the door that separated the spaces. So, and we did all of your reception in one room and just your ceremony in the other room.
Yeah.
How did you decide you wanted an indoor ceremony?
Oh my God, I have way too much anxiety to even entertain the idea of outside. I'm also like, I'm only comfortable at 67 to 70 degrees. And I'm like, okay, well,
I mean, the hair.
You can't guarantee that. Yeah.
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 You just have, there's so much that can go wrong with an outdoor ceremony.
Yeah.
And I think when people visit, they might have this idea that they want an outdoor ceremony, and then they see the space inside and they're like, no, I'm doing it inside.
Yeah. It's just way more control. I'm just I like to be in control of the situation. And when something is inside, you are in control of how it looks.
Well, when you're spending a lot of money on a wedding day, why do you want to be stressed the whole day about something that could potentially ruin the whole thing?
And I was already stressed about the weather because I was like, we have to take photos outside, please. Like and I was fully prepared to like get dressed up a week later and come back out here and take wedding photos outside, because I'm like, we're not going to not take photos outside. Like that was, to me, like that was the moment. And all my favorite photos are the ones we took outside. And when it started sideways raining, when I sat down for makeup and it literally started sideways raining, and I was like, please stop.
It cleared up.
Stop, please. Yeah.
Didn't it clear like right at 5?
It cleared up like, I think 10 minutes before the ceremony. The sun came out, and I was like,
someone was looking out up there.
Yeah. Yeah. What I tell you that I saw, this is off topic, but I saw a turtle on the way too, like in the middle of the road. I almost stopped to turn around and save it, but I was running late. So I hope that turtle's okay. But of course I looked it up, and a turtle is like a sign of longevity and, it's some spiritual whatever.
Aww.
But I'm like, rain on the wedding day, like I know it's all good luck or whatever. It wasn't meant to be.
I think that the rain means lots of babies too.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
I think
I've
so.
heard it.
Yeah.
It rained on my wedding day, and I have 3.
Wow.
So.
Well, Jeff thinks we're only having 1. So, but he used to think 0. So, and I talked him into 1. So we'll talk him into 2.
We'll talk him into 2.
Yeah.
I'll help.
I'm like, can't be alone.
Well, let's back up to the first look thing.
Yeah.
So you guys were, I don't think Jeff really cared, did he, about the first look?
No, he cared a lot.
He did care?
He cared a lot. Yeah.
So they really wanted to save that moment for when they were walking down the aisle. They didn't want a first look.
Yeah.
I was not their photographer, but I, as a photographer, said, you're not going to have a lot of pictures if you don't do a first look. And are you glad with that decision that you did not do a first look?
Yeah. I'm really glad. I honestly I was worried about not having enough time for Jeff and I's photos. I was concerned about that. So I stressed this to my photographer. I'm like, I want you to breeze through the family photos and the wedding party photos. I do not give a shit about those pictures. Like, I literally do not care.
You need like one wedding party picture. And
I'm
one
like, I don't
picture.
even care if it's like the most traditional looking wedding party photo you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah.
I don't need to go viral on Pinterest for my bridal party photos. It's not a priority. Like, who cares? Like, yes, I love these girls. They're my best friends, but like, we can have just a photo of all of us smiling, just normal. You know what I mean? I knew that the photos between Jeff and I were the most important. I'm like, if we can at least have 45 minutes, like,
do you feel like you've had enough?
Oh, yeah, I do.
See, I think though you're like a certain personality type, because I have other girls say that to me, and I'm like, there's no way in hell that this girl is going to be happy with 45 minutes worth of pictures. Yeah. She's got 15 props. She's got her dog coming. She's got 80 different.
Well, I also like tried to keep it simple. I made a mood board, but I made like a list of actual photo examples and I sent them to Sid. I'm like, I want to capture these moments. I feel like if you have 10 that you're obsessed with, like, do you need, I mean, we have way more than that than we're obsessed with.
How many are you going to put on your walls?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. I'm like, just enough variety to be able to look at and be like, oh, that's different. That's different. Like, you don't need 50 different, like, iconic show-stopping looks. Like, are there even that many? So yeah, I knew that as long as we had 10, and I prepared Jeff ahead of time. I'm really good at like, you know, like I do this for a living. So I show him the inspo. I'm like, this is the pose that we're going to do. I mean, not the wedding day. I showed him like weeks in advance. I'm like, this is what the poses are going to look like on our wedding day. So when our photographer tells us like, hey, Jeff, like put your hand on Kiley's chin, just listen to her. Yeah. Okay. And
don't
do
be
it.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What do I do with my hands?
Which we still got a few natural Jeff moments of him being like, and I'm like, okay, we paid how much for the photographer? Let's get serious. Love you so much. Like, I love your personality and I love that, but also the photographer's expensive. So let's be serious.
Yeah.
Well, take the photos.
And I think it's not like a one size fits all answer.
No.
I mean, you need to know yourself and you need to know what the expectations are and what reality is. You cannot say you're not going to do a first look and then after the wedding be all upset because you didn't have 10 locations of photos.
Yeah.
So, but
literally
to you, it was worth it, that moment you saw them.
It was like the most important moment of my life. I've thought about that moment forever. Like literally forever. It was amazing. He told me he tried not to cry. And I'm like, no, cry.
See, they don't want to in front of people. They get like nervous about it.
God. I'm like, I still got you. You still cried. I still saw you wipe away a tear. Like, yeah.
I watched the wedding on the security cameras.
Yeah.
Did you? You know, I don't watch weddings every weekend, but I did. I chimed in just for the moment.
Oh, I love
so
that.
I was there in spirit.
Oh, yeah. It was, I wish I would have had a little bit more time to myself, like right before I walked out, because there were people everywhere, like the hair and makeup and my assistant and my bridesmaids, like everybody was kind of like talking and around me. I do wish I had been like, hey, can everybody just like for a minute so I can like get more emotional and in the zone. Like I still was, but I think because there was so much going on like right before that it was hard to like soak that in right before. But as soon as the doors opened, it was like time just froze till I got to him.
Did you wait upstairs in the bridal suite?
Yeah, I waited upstairs.
Yeah, and then had your bridesmaids go down.
Yeah.
I think that's like a special time that you don't really think about planning for on the wedding day.
Yeah.
Because usually you're getting shuffled in 50 different rooms, and that's like one thing that's unique here is you get to just sit still in the one space and not like travel to another space before you walk down the aisle.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it is. It's just it's one of the only times you're really alone with your own thoughts on your wedding day.
Yeah.
So.
Which I did have like a decent amount of time. I think that's one thing looking back that I wish I would have like
scheduled for
5 minutes, but like it wasn't on the schedule. So no one like made it happen because nobody knew. And
hair and makeup's always late.
Well, and
long.
Yeah.
I mean, not that they're late.
And they want to make sure
forever.
you look perfect before you
walk
down the aisle.
Minute.
Yeah.
And you're kind of your veil or whatever you have on. And
which you're like appreciative for looking back. You're like, thank you for making sure I looked perfect. It's okay that I would prefer looking great versus having 2 minutes of quiet time. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I do prefer to look good in the photos.
So other than walking down the aisle, what was your favorite thing about your wedding day?
I would say our first dance and just getting to take photos with him outside, because it was like really the time that we got to be alone. Like, yes, there were 4 photographers and my hair and makeup girl and the assistant. So there were like 7 people following us around. Not to mention Westwind Hills. Like, do you want a drink? And I'm like, oh my God. At one point there were like 9 people waiting on us. But we felt like it was just the 2 of us because it's not like anyone.
It's your little wedding day entourage.
Yeah, it truly was. I'm like, oh my God. So insane. Literally so insane.
Well, but people don't realize what goes into making all that happen.
Yeah.
Even no matter how many weddings you're in, it just feels so different when it's your own wedding day.
Yeah. So different.
I know, and it goes by so fast.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, so that's why you need to pick a good photographer / videographer, whatever your priorities are.
Yeah,
because that's all you have after.
Yeah, I mean, she blew it out of the water. Like our photos, they're so beautiful. Yeah. I feel like they really reflect how we feel about each other. Like in the photos, the way we look at each other, the way that she was able to capture. I'm like, yeah, it was perfect.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm glad you did it here.
Yeah, me too.
So if you could give brides one piece of advice on their wedding day, just one, what would you say to a future bride?
I would say, I don't know if it's normal how much I mean, like on your wedding day, I feel like all the worries you had before just fall by the wayside. You forget to worry about them. Mm-hmm. Like I was really worried about the timeline of things because I'm so type A and I see every detail that goes into things. And so I was really worried about like, well, should we do this first and then that? And what are the guests going to do while, what if it rains and they have to be in the ceremony room? Are they going to be like bored? Are they going to be like, oh, why is there no decor? And like, they don't notice. Like I was so worried about things leading up to the day. So that would be my advice is like all the stuff that you're worried about, you're really going to honestly forget about it on your wedding day. You're going to be so nervy for the actual wedding that you're going to forget that you cared about all those little small details.
Yeah.
I would also say probably the best thing that I did was I paid my hair and makeup girl to stay with me. She didn't just leave after she was done. Like she stayed with me. She maybe could have left after we did photos, but
for touch-ups.
Yeah, like I didn't need to do a second look, but I'm glad that I did a second look because it was nice to have my hair back and not have to worry about doing that myself.
Loved it.
Yeah. I did have FOMO though while I was up changing because it took like 20 minutes. And that was like right when the dance floor was starting, which is I feel like when it's kind of the most fun. And I was like, oh my God, I want to get back and dance so bad.
You did a dress change.
Yeah.
And it was so cute. I loved it.
I loved it.
Were you sad at all about taking off your first dress? You were glad to put the shorter one on.
Yeah, because it was was heavy. Yeah. And it's hard to dance in a dress like that. Not to mention that I was strapless, basically. I mean, I had those little shoulder pieces, but those did not function at all.
Yeah,
they were just decorative, which
is
so funny because I was like, the main thing is that I told myself is I was not going to wear a strapless dress. And I'm like, me ends up in a strapless dress. I'm like, perfect.
There's not like a lot of options at the variety, though.
No, there's not. There's not. But I would say the one thing that look into if you have the budget is like if you can get your hair and makeup girl to stay, because like during all the photos, she made sure that my hair was, looked good. Because like a hair and makeup artist, they have the eye for how that stuff looks in a photo. Mm-hmm. And if it was like sitting behind me all clumped up, like she would come over and like fluff it. And I'm sure that annoys like, everyone else who's like trying to keep us on schedule that she's doing that. But I'm like, looking back, I'm like, well, my hair looked freaking great in all the photos,
Well, as a photographer, I love it because when I'm trying to work in a 30-minute
you can't go like, hey, Kiley, touch up your hair, move your hair behind your ear. Like she was...
And sweaty hair doesn't function the same as like, indoor hair.
Yeah.
So
and it was
outside,
gross. I mean, it was muggy.
Yeah.
It was muggy and it had just downpoured and she was like there to gloss and lash and hair and fluff and do all of it. Like if you can budget that in, like it's so worth it.
Is there anything you think you could have lived without on your wedding day looking back?
No. I mean, I honestly was like, no, like there's nothing that I was like, oh, I didn't really need that. Maybe right after I could have been able to think of some stuff, but.
Or any regrets about the wedding day?
I just regret worrying so much beforehand.
Yeah.
But a few of my friends got married like a month and 2 months before me. And so when it was like 2 weeks out from the wedding, I was texting them nonstop being like, I'm so worried about the florals. Like, tell me not to worry. Mm-hmm. And they were like, literally don't worry. Stop worrying about the florals. Like people are going to be like, there were flowers there. Like obviously people who are in the industry see that stuff, but they're like, most of your guests are going to be like, you had flowers.
Well, I preach that a lot about florals and stuff.
You have to do something. Yes. You can't do nothing because the room will look empty without them.
Yeah. You need some height, but
yeah.
Like I went to a wedding in Michigan last month and it was my first time attending a wedding since we opened the venue. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm just really aware of things now. I didn't notice a damn thing.
Really?
You know what I wanted? Was the signature cocktails.
Yeah.
They had these special cans and they took the, I forget what the name is. It's a certain sort of seltzer.
Okay.
And they took the lids off and made it into a cup and did like a specialty drink in the can.
That's cool.
It was super cute. So everybody was like so excited about these cans.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, everyone was really excited about our signature cocktail and about those drink tags. They were like, that was so cool. And I'm like,
people drink. Like, you guys did lavender lemonade, didn't you? It's like,
it's so good.
All of our bartenders are like, is that your like coined Westwind Hills specialty? I'm like, well, it is amazing. And people chug it like it's going out of style.
Because it's different. People are like, oh, I want to try that. Like, I'm glad that we did that.
Well, and wedding drinks usually suck.
Yeah.
Like you usually go to a wedding and you're like, can I get a cranberry vodka? Or, so it's nice to have like elevated drinks.
Yeah. I'm glad that we did that. I think at my last meeting, you were like, are you sure you don't want to do a signature cocktail? And I was like, yeah, we don't need that. And you're like,
I was like,
the guests really love it. Like they really do. And like a lot of our guests came in from out of town. And I know everyone is like, the day is about you and the groom, blah, blah, blah. Like, yes, it is. But also you're going to drag all these people here. Give them a signature cocktail, you know?
I mean,
I'm glad that we did that.
It's something that you do for the guest experience.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it a thing.
Yeah. So. I'm really glad that we did that.
Yeah. So what's next for you? What's on your agenda? Not to replace your wedding planning time.
We're trying to have a baby.
You are going to?
Yeah. Well, I'm just like, I'm 31 and I know that like the older you get, the harder it can be. I know it's 2023 and anything's possible, but I don't want to struggle, you know? I don't want to like be anxious about it. I'm like, let's just start.
You guys did the engagement quick. You might as well just keep moving.
Yeah. We're working on adding some things to the house right now. We're working on finishing. We live in a ranch, but we have a basement that's the same size as our first level. So we are working on doing a gym in the basement and then we'll finish the rest later. But right now, like if we finish the gym part, we can do more frequent like training videos and add those to our programs and it can help make us more money. So we want to get that rolling. So we're working on that. We have our honeymoon in September to Hawaii and then trying for a baby. So all the exciting things like
if you thought having a wedding was amazing, having a baby is the best thing in the whole world. So you'll love it.
Yeah, I'll be just fine. So
well, is there anything else you wanted to add about your wedding or anything special?
I don't think so. I mean, I would just stress to people, just stop worrying so much. Like coming from a professional worrier, literally, it's like I took a class and I got an A+ in worrying. I actually took a class in college, stress management. It didn't work. I got an A, but you would never know. You would never know that I passed. But I would just say like, literally calm down.
Yeah.
Calm down.
We see it every weekend. Yeah. And trust me, we notice the brides that are relaxed and enjoying themselves. And we notice when they're worried about the stupid things. And I'm sorry to say it, but it is. It's stupid. And half the time we're like, just relax.
What do people worry about on like the day of?
Pictures.
And
you know what? In this world of social media that we're in, I know it's amazing to be able to share everything.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to, is it's going to be a memory for you?
Yeah.
And all of those little things don't matter. Like you can go get married in a park.
Yeah.
And it's about the moment.
Yeah.
So I hate when I see people stressing about the small things and how everything's going to come across like with a look.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're all worried about that.
Right.
But, it's just, people need to realize that this is once in a lifetime.
It's silly to like make yourself sick over that kind of stuff. I would say if there's one regret was during family photos. If it was a little bit chaotic, I didn't communicate to my family. Jeff, his side of the family communicated like, hey, one big family group photo. But I thought that on the day of that my family would just like listen.
Family photos are the worst.
They're awful. And I was, I know everyone in my family's names. Jeff that was the first time he met some of my cousins and stuff, like because of COVID, like my family stopped doing like Christmas and all that stuff, like getting everyone together. And then we just like stopped because we're like, whatever, everyone's so busy. Everyone has kids, they're older. And so this is the first time that he met all those people. So I know everyone's names. So when people aren't paying attention and we're in a, we had cocktail hour going on in that room and family photos. So I had to be like, hey, so-and-so. And I like hated that I had to yell and project my voice because I didn't want to look like a bridezilla. Yeah. I was like so fixated on no one thinking I was a bridezilla. And I'm like, hey, can you guys pay attention, please.
Well, and
please pay attention.
And people don't realize it's not because you're being like controlling. You just want to get it done so you can go out and spend time with your person.
Like, that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to get them done. I'm not like mad at you. I just like, please stand by for photos, because people would like come take a photo and then they would leave thinking they were done. And I'm like, oh, you're not done.
Well, and this is, to play devil's advocate, this is a perk of a first look.
Yes.
Is you can get your family pictures done.
Yeah.
And then after, you're just have all the time.
Yeah.
So again, priorities, but or
also
just
I'm
don't
like,
do family pictures.
I mean, honestly, like Jeff's mom she's so good about taking photos when everyone's together, and it's amazing to have those photos to look back on. Like, you're so annoyed in the moment that someone's taking your photo, like while you're eating dinner. You're like, oh my God. But then you're like, oh, I have a photo with grandma. Like, haven't had a photo with my grandma in literally 15 years.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have those.
You have
But
to.
in the moment, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want them. But then when his side of the family wanted photos, I didn't want to look like an a-hole and be like, I don't care about my family photos.
So just take a deep breath.
So I was like, okay, guys, like, come in for a family photo. But I'm glad that I did. I'm just like, no, I just want to get to the photos with Jeff and I. But I'm glad that we took the time for that.
Yeah, no, that's always the worst part of an entire wedding day.
Yeah.
From a photographer perspective.
It's just chaotic. Like, no one's listening. I'm like, why?
And you guys ended up cocktailing inside.
Yeah.
We moved your bar inside, which
Yeah.
that's kind of like our rain plan here.
Yeah.
Is we move the bar to the back of the ceremony space. And it's great because if it clears up, people can still go out on the veranda and drink out there.
Right.
Which I think most of your guests did.
They did, yeah.
But it puts the bar in a spot where it's not getting like wind and stuff.
Yeah.
So that does complicate it a little bit with photos.
Yeah.
So I think to that point, maybe talk to your photographer about maybe a place you could do pictures other than in that space.
And I should have just communicated to my family.
Well,
hey,
no.
you're going to be in a photo. Like, please stand by. I just didn't.
Send a text the day before the wedding.
And that was one thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, if my officiant just announces it at the end, people will probably be paying attention. But I'm like,
no one pays attention.
no one's paying attention. No one's listening, which is fine. I'm a guest. I'm not paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm not listening. I went to a wedding the weekend after, and I'm like, what did they say? Were you listening? I wasn't listening.
No one reads anything.
No.
No one looks at signage.
No.
Nothing.
They're like, you had a sign? Didn't see it.
No.
I'm like, okay.
So skip the signs.
Skip the signs. Do not waste your money on signs.
Yeah, everybody knows you're at the wedding of Kiley and Jeff.
Yeah, you don't need a timeline. It's not necessary.
No.
They don't need to know what's next. They're just give them alcohol and they'll be fine.
Well, Robbie and I love you guys so much, and we'll be cheering for you in the next phase of life. I'm sad because I won't get to talk to her all the time anymore.
I'll still bug you.
Yeah.
I'll still bug you. So
I'll see you around.
yeah, you will.
Thanks, Kiley.
Thank you.